Hello everyone, thank you so much for watching this video and welcome to my YouTube channel Project MIS. My name is Sumit Kumar Amasta and I have around 13 and a half years of experience working across different domains, starting from banking domain. Then I moved into IT side and started working as a business analyst, Scrum Master and Project Manager. Across different domain, I have seen good amount of experience working with corporates in the real-time scenarios. The video what you are going to see now is prepared on Scrum Framework and has taken as a set from one of my US based class, which I was talking to a US student on Agile plus Jira module. So I hope this topic will be helpful for you and adding some value in your knowledge. Thanks. The next one. Now we are coming to the Scrum Framework. Okay. So Scrum Framework. First, we'll understand from the Scrum event point of view. So, Scrum event is a blue color circle, and it has this Scrum event has these many events which are part of the whole Scrum cycle. One is the itself the sprint. What is sprint? So, Scrum suggest the iteration. Till now we were keep on using that word iteration, right? So Scrum suggests the iteration can vary from 1 week to 4 week. So it is up to us when we are deciding the team and when we are starting the development. So Scrum team can decide which Scrum iteration they want to go for. They can set 1 week of iteration also. They can set 2 week of iteration also, 3 week also, and 4 week also. So Scrum allows 1 to 4 week. It should not be lesser than 1 week. It should not be more than 4 weeks. The most commonly accepted sprint cycle is 2 weeks. Okay. So that is what we call the sprint. Okay. Then sprint planning. Sprint planning means that what all story I am going to work in the sprint is called sprint planning. So let's stop at sprint planning. Okay. I will show you how this sprint planning works. Okay. Sorry. So see, uh, how it works. Uh, just take one example. We are talking about is the font visible or should I increase the size?
Yes, it is.
It is visible now. Okay. So sprint planning. So suppose you have to uh, make some software. Okay. And software should have home page. After home page is done, anything you guys can suggest which we can follow as an example for our rest of this stuff. Okay. Or let me take that example of create a software to software for user management, for example. So first will be add user. So I want one functionality where we are talking about some user and we will create that we will add new user into the system. Okay. Second feature I want, I can see all the users which are there in the system. Third, I want to delete the user if I want. Okay. Fourth is edit the user. If I want any change in the user detail, I can make the changes in the user detail. Five is print uh, print hard copy. Six is, for example, print Soft copy means like, make PDF or something like that. So suppose this is my requirement. Okay. So when I have the requirement, so this is total list of requirement. Okay. Let me remove the number here. So now this requirement can be one list, which like, as a software I want. So this is the first piece, right? When we saw, right? So we are breaking down all our requirement into smaller pieces, and that smaller piece is called user story. So one user story tells about adding user, second for view user, third for delete, edit, print, and hard copy and soft copy. So this is what our requirement. Now customer will tell me, okay, first you tell me, you give me add user. So this should be the first task to be done. Okay. And if customer says, okay, you first give me view user, then you can say first you have to do add user, right? Because without adding user, how you are going to view the user? So this kind of like, discussion can happen between the stakeholder. So customer sets the priority and he's telling me first you do this, then you do the view user, then you give me delete user, then you give me edit user, then you make this hard copy print, then you give me soft copy print. So this is prioritization. So when now developer are picking the task, they will pick in this particular order. First they will take number 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and something like this. Okay. So this is what the prioritization. Now, when we have the prioritization and we are at sprint planning. So in sprint planning, what will happen? Now I know that suppose my sprint is 2 weeks. Okay. 2 weeks. 2 weeks in the sense, let's assume it is starting from Monday, 14th of August. Okay. So 14th of August, the second week is ending on 25th of August. So this 2 week, this is clear to all of you. So I have 10 working days in hand. Okay. Clear, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So I am telling 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, sorry, 14, 15, 18, then after 18 again 21, 21, 22, 23, 24, 20. Why I am writing like this? I am writing all the 10 day here. Let me write this way. 14th August, 18th August, 21st August. So why I am listing down all these 10 days? There is a reason. So now I have these 10 days in hand. Okay. And suppose I have only one person in the team who's working. I'm just giving one random example to make this like, simple. So one person is working. So how much time one person will work? 8 hours is considered as a productive development for any developer. So if one person is there, so on 14th August, he can work for 8 hours and then 15th, 8 and every day 8 hours. So that's how total in this 2 week, I have 80 hours in hand. Okay. How much it comes to? 80 hours. So total work, which is of 80 hours, can be done in this particular sprint. Okay. When this sprint planning happens, right, and there is only one person, for example, if person 2, so second column will be added. Person 3, third column will be added. So that is how we have to do sprint planning. There can be this person 1, suppose he is on like, leave on this particular day. So this day is gone. So I made it 0 because he is not available on this particular day. Okay. 17th August, 15th August, for example, assume, let's take example, this is holiday. Okay. So gone. So out of these 10 working days, 1 day is gone because of holiday and 1 day is gone because that person is on leave particular day. So I should have given delivery of 80 hours, but I have only 64 hours in hand now. Okay. Now I will only take that task which can be completed within this 64 hours. Okay. Now, one more thing what we take as a precaution when we do the sprint planning, we cannot calculate starting from 14 till 25th August. We should have some leverage. We should have some buffer in hand. So one day of work mostly we try to avoid. Why? Because you have to have this review also, right? If last day also you will be keep on working, then when you will show the review to customer? So few hours we have to take out from the sprint planning. So suppose I took only 4 hours on 25th August. So what happens? Now I left with 60 hours in hand. And now I will see how many hours these tasks need. So estimate. How estimate will happen? This Scrum team has to have internal discussion, understand the requirement. And by understanding the requirement, okay, they understand the adding user need 40 hour. Okay, this task need 15 hour. This task need 10 hours. This task need 15 hour. This need 5 hour. This need 5 hours. So this is just a random example I am giving. Okay. So after getting the requirement, you work with the team to understand the estimate that how much time the task is needed to complete. So now, as per my sprint planning, I can accommodate work of 60 hours. Okay. So now I will start taking okay. So add user 40 hour. Okay. Sprint 1. This can be done. Then I am left with 60 minus 40, 20 hours. View user 15 hour. Okay. So this also can be taken in sprint 1. Now I have taken work for 55 hours, but I have 60 hours in hand. So how much hour left? 5 hours. But the next set of work is delete user, 10 hours. I cannot take this task in sprint 1 because I don't have enough time left as per my planning. So I will leave this. I can have discussion with my product owner and say I have left with 5 hours. Can I take any one of these? Okay. He says, okay, take this point number 5. Okay. So now I agreed and I taken this. I changed the priority and task number 5 I have considered for sprint 1. Okay. So now what will happen? I will move all these down. In Jira, this will happen very simply. Here I'm just moving like this. So now this is what my current planning will be. So this is how we do the sprint planning. This is a very simple plan, but you have to see how many holidays are there, leaves are there, then total hours, how much you have. And then you have to, based on the estimate, you have to decide which all tasks you can cover in this particular sprint. This is what called sprint planning. Is it clear? Any doubt, any question here?
No, it's clear.
Clear? Okay, good. So, so this is what sprint planning. Okay. So we have got the sprint, 1 week, 2 week, 3 week cycle. Then based on the sprint cycle, we do the sprint planning. Then daily scrum. Daily scrum is the daily meeting. Daily scrum is the name of the meeting, we refer as. So it's a daily meeting, 15-minute meeting, where we just ask developer, okay, so what you have done yesterday, what you are doing today, and if there is any issue where you need any help, that's it. If he has any issue, we just have to make a note of it. In the call, we don't have to discuss the issue, because if you start discussing the issue, it will be getting time from other people in the call, and they will be keep on waiting until we complete the discussion. So that will be like, time waste for them. So the solution has to be done later. So if you tell me, "Okay, Sumit, I have this issue, I will make a note of it. And when the call get over, I will get onto a call with you only, one to one, and we'll start figuring out how to solve that issue so that it does not occupy the time of others." Okay. Daily Scrum. Sprint review. When the sprint gets over, on the final day of the sprint. On the final day of the sprint means the day when the sprint is getting over, which is 25th August. On this particular day, we will do the review. Okay. Always review happens on the last working day of the sprint. Okay. This is sprint review. Sprint retrospective. When the sprint is completed, so after 25th of August, we will do the retrospective. So we will discuss what did go well, what is not good, what created problem for us, and if we should change in our approach. Those discussions are happening in sprint retrospective. Okay. So this is one of the Scrum framework, Scrum event. Now Scrum team, Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Developer. This is simple. Just understand that the role is very important here. Scrum Master, Product Owner, and Developer. So let's start with Product Owner. Do you have any clarity who is Product Owner?
The stakeholder, no, the person that you're doing the project for, I think.
No, so no, not a stakeholder. It can be anyone. It can be Scrum team. It can be customer. It can be actual user. Anyone. So product owner is someone who owns the delivery. Okay, so if you are making the software, so if you are the people who are making the software, then there should be someone who has the accountability of the development approach, and product owner is the person who is accountable for delivery to customer. Okay, so product owner is someone who is customer facing. Customer facing means he is the one who has the initial discussion with customer and talk to customer and different set of customer and understand the requirement and list down the requirement and prioritize the requirement. Okay, so if I am customer, for example, and you are suppose product owner, so you have word with me and I explain you, okay, I want to build a software where I can create new user, I can view them, delete them, edit them, print them. So I have given my requirement to you. You as a product owner understood my requirement and you listed down all these set of activity which needs to be done in that software. So you tell me, okay, so I will create one software through which we will add new user, we will view the user, we will print, delete, edit, something like this. So you have, as a product owner, you have the requirement discussion with client and understand the requirement and listed down that requirement in the form of user story. And after you understand, as a product owner, you understand what how I want the delivery, in which sequence. You set the prioritization. Okay, so now after understanding the understanding from customer, you set the prioritization and convey this prioritization to your Scrum team. Okay, so here, if you talk about the Scrum team, customers are not part of Scrum team. They are stakeholder. Okay, so Scrum team consists of only three set of user: product owner, who is customer facing guy, who is going to deal with customer directly, understand the requirement, listing down the requirement. And then he comes to Scrum Master and developer. Scrum Master is the facilitator, like who facilitate all Scrum ceremony. So he will play very critical role in sprint planning, daily Scrum, sprint review, retrospective. Scrum Master is the person who will facilitate. And product owner, once he understand the priority, he will talk to Scrum Master about what are tasks to be delivered and what is the priority. Then Scrum Master and developer and product owner have a call for the sprint planning, understand the requirement, and then they discuss all these exercise happen, how much time in hand, and all this calculation, how much tasks we can deliver. Based on that, if some changes needs to be done in prioritization, which can be the best possible solution based on the available time, or based on the available time and the which should not impact the delivery, on those ground these decisions are made. So this is what product owner, Scrum Master, and developer are the people who are actually developing the software. Product owner understand the requirement, set the prioritization. Scrum Master is facilitating the software, delivery all Scrum ceremony. And then developer are the actual person who are doing the coding. So who is actually coding? Developers. So there is a separate need for developers in the sprint planning also, that I will tell in the next phase. Okay. So Scrum event, Scrum team. Now we come to artifact. There are three artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. Okay. So accept artifact in a Scrum event and Scrum team. Any question do you guys have?
So on the prioritization,
Uh-huh.
on the one that you were showing us earlier,
Uh-huh.
if you can go back to that page, to the Excel maybe. Yeah, we've been saying, like, for example, these are when we are developing any software or creating a software, these are, like we say, function or components. So for example, if you want to see the view user, or if you want to do the view user component or function, we have to do the add user first. So in such circumstances, how is the sprint planning goes? Like, there is first person who is going to take the first add user, and is there any circumstance that the second sprint, or the view user to be done, that the second person should wait until the first add user be finished, or they will be split into two or three persons at a time for a single task?
I will tell you. I will tell you.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, I will tell you. So actually, okay, let me explain this piece with this particular information. Okay, with artifact. After that, if you are not, this point is not clear, then you tell me again. Okay.
Okay, okay.
So artifact. There are three artifacts: product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. Okay, let's understand what is product backlog, what is sprint backlog, and what is increment. I'll go back to the Excel sheet once again. Okay, so now until this part is done, okay, for the time being, let me delete it. Okay, so product owner has the conversation, and after having the conversation, he has listed down all the stories which needs to be delivered. So this list is called product backlog. Means to develop this particular product, I need these many stories. It can be it can be other stories also. I'm just taking one example which has only this set of tasks. But in actual story, you can be actual product. It can be 100 of a story. Okay. So whatever functional requirement you mention, which which is the complete set of uh, story which will be needed for the development, that is called product backlog. So when you say product backlog, it means a list of stories, or a better to say list of functional story which needs to be developed for that particular software. Okay, so that is called product backlog. Now, out of this product backlog, based on my sprint 1 calculation, I have decided I can take this task, and this task for this sprint 1. So these are the sprint backlog for sprint 1. Okay, so this whole is the product backlog, this whole set. But out of those product backlog, this is sprint backlog 1, and then this will become the sprint 2 backlog. Okay, so one product backlog will be having several sprint backlog. So product backlog and sprint backlog. Is this point clear?
Yes.
So let me tell once again. Okay, so product backlog lists down all the stories which we are going to deliver for the software development for that particular product. That is what called product backlog. But out of those product backlog, we start segregating how much I can work, how much I can take in a sprint. So what I will do, I will take this task and I will create a separate backlog for sprint 1. I will take this slot and I will make it a separate for sprint 2. Okay, so now I have split my product backlog into 2 smaller buckets, which is the sprint backlog for sprint 1 and sprint backlog for sprint 2. So the product backlog will be segregated in a sprint backlog based on the sprint where we are going to accommodate that particular piece of task. Okay, now see, now one important thing what you guys have, which is the practical thing which you guys have to understand, is that product owner had conversation with the Scrum Master and the team, and he explained, like, what is add user, what is view user, and based on that, this all has been, like, estimate was done, and this all is decided. Okay, in sprint 1 I am going to make this, in sprint 2 I am going to make this. Now let's come to sprint 1. Okay, sorry, I copy it. Okay, now this is sprint 1. Okay, so now see, after this functional story is decided, after deciding the functional story, Scrum Master connect separately with developer without product owner. Okay, because till now we were only discussing about the functional story. Functional story means it tells me that this particular function needs to be developed. Adding user is one function. Viewing user is one function. Printing hard copy is one function. But when the actual delivery happens, is it how it is going to happen? No. Scrum Master will have conversation with the developers. Okay. And what will happen now? This functional story will be broken down into task. Okay. Task 1. For example, first someone has to create database. Okay. That is task 1. Task 2. Someone has to create screen design, which we refer as, like, UX. Okay, user interface. And then task number 3, for example, is create service to add user. So Now this is functional story, adding user, but with Scrum Master has conversation with developer, and after having the conversation, developers are suggesting to do this task. We have to work on 3 smaller tasks. So someone has to create database, someone has to create a screen design, and then 1 and 2 are done. Then someone has to create the service. Means whatever screen has been designed on that particular screen, we have to take the input, and after taking the input, we have to save that into database. Okay, so task 1 is independent, task 2 is independent, but task 3 is dependent on task 1 and task 2. So until task 1 is completed, until task 2 is completed, task 3 cannot be picked up. Same way, this will be broken, this view user also will be broken down, same way print also. So your question, right, the parallel working. So if we have more developer, so we have to see which tasks are independent, which tasks are dependent, and based on that, parallel work can be planned. Okay, does this answer your question now?
Exactly. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so this is how this works. So when we say task 1, 2, 3, right, we refer these as a technical task. Technical tasks. This and this. Okay. So sprint 1, add user, functional story, be broken down into smaller task, technical task. We'll be creating database. See, and as a Scrum Master, product owner, we don't have to know that what should be task 1, 2, and 3. This comes from the discussion with developer, and they are the people who tell this needs to be done, task 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so I'm just writing this based on my experience working with the team on the Java environment. But it can, if different, based on what language or programming developers are using, based on that this task will vary. Okay, so it's completely up to developer what approach they are going to take for the development. Okay, so this is what product backlog, sprint backlog, and increment. Increment is what? When this sprint 1 is over, 25th August getting over, you have to show the demo. And what is you have to show in demo? Because you have decided these 3 tasks you will be completing in sprint 1. So increment is something, a software which will be able to add, view, and print users. That is what will show to customer. So customer will be very curious. The moment you start the call, first thing he asks, can we see the software? So normally this review happens. One of the developer show the screen, share the screen, and show how we are adding user, how we are viewing user, and how we are printing the user. Okay. So this is Scrum Framework, Scrum Event, Scrum Team, and Artifacts. Any doubt, any question here?
No.
No, right? Is it becoming too much? Or okay?
No, it's okay.
Okay, now good.